Here are our biggest predictions for E3 2021. The biggest event in video gaming is almost here. In 2 short weeks, E3 will turn our dreams into streams with a live-streamed version of the annual gaming conference from June 12th through June 15th. With E3 2021 comes a cavalcade of announcements about the hottest new games coming your way in the next year or two, or a lot longer if you're still like me waiting for Star Wars 1313. And while you'll be able to see all the biggest reveals, trailers, announcements, and official E3 live streams right here on Nerdist in short order, today we're going to use our crystal ball to peer directly into the future to predict with 100% accuracy what will get announced at this year's show. Starfield. Let's start things off with Microsoft and Bethesda, chocolate and peanut butter, if chocolate legally acquired peanut butter for $7.5 billion. And while everyone's been curious about what this means for the multi-platform future of Bethesda titles, we can all but guarantee we're going to be learning about one in particular at their joint press conference, Starfield. Although I don't think my other prediction of the sci-fi epic being pronounced exactly like Garfield will come true, we will get a trailer for Starfield and maybe even a first look at gameplay, confirmation of reports that it's going to be Xbox and PC exclusive, and a whole lot more. But that's okay for PlayStation fans because the PS5 already kind of looks like a spaceship, which is the next best thing. Keep telling ourselves that. Speaking of Microsoft, though, we can definitely expect an update on one of the Xbox Series X and S's most anticipated titles, Halo Infinite. Originally intended to launch with the next-gen consoles, this game was delayed at first to give more time to finish the game on 343 Industries' own terms, and then again as a result of pandemic-related circumstances. Now, though, Halo Infinite is poised to steal the entire showcase with epic gameplay, a new trailer, and hopefully a much better look at the game's true star, Craig the Brute. The Nintendo Switch Pro. Like Thanos, this announcement feels inevitable. As reported by Bloomberg back in March, Nintendo is working on a premium version of the Switch with a larger OLED screen and support for 4K graphics intended to release in time for the holiday season. Now, the bigger question, though, is if the rumored Valve-produced handheld console, the Steam Pal, is a real thing or an elaborate prank designed to make us forget we're never ever getting third entries for Half-Life or Portal or Left 4 Dead or Team Fortress. As for Nintendo, they have their own Deku nut to crack that everyone wants to hear more about, and that is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. First announced back at E3 2019, fans have been champing at the bit like Epona for more morsels of news about the sequel to this Nintendo Switch launch title. However, since then, Nintendo's been quieter than Link himself about this highly anticipated follow-up. With all that said, considering this is the 35th anniversary of the Legend of Zelda series, and Nintendo could be rolling out a new console, what better way to launch an upgraded Nintendo Switch than with an upgraded sequel to one of your most popular Switch launch titles? I mean, you'll be up to your neck in rupees! Moving on, we come to the only thing slightly more likely to happen than George R.R. Martin finishing The Winds of Winter, and that is literally anything about the game that George R.R. Martin is making with From Software, Elden Ring. Honestly, at this point, we will take any information we can get because the alternative is way more frustrating than any Soulsborne game ever was. After that, let's continue with something that inexplicably trends on Twitter every 3 months like clockwork, Grand Theft Auto 6. And while Rockstar is releasing Grand Theft Auto 5 on a third console generation this fall in an effort to dethrone Skyrim as the game on the most consoles ever, all eyes are on the AAA studio and parent company Take-Two Interactive for the next entry in this mega popular series. I mean, it's been a minute. And while I am skeptical we're going to learn more about GTA 6 proper, I could see them giving us GTA 3 again, because this is the 20th anniversary of Grand Theft Auto 3, a game that revolutionized the franchise as we know it and turned it into the powerhouse that it is today. So maybe an HD remaster or a remake from the ground up, but regardless, you know what happens when they give us GTA 3 twice? Technically, that adds up to 6. I'm just kidding. We can't end on something that probably won't happen. What we can expect to see at this year's E3 is your wildest and finalist fantasy, specifically Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, and more importantly, Final Fantasy XVI. Whether it's a gameplay showcase or another cinematic trailer, we'll take it, just as long as they show off more of that sweet, sweet main series action and not a mobile game that sounds like a warlock is doing Latin beat poetry. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, folks, there you have it, our predictions for the biggest announcements of E3 2021. We'll be keeping you up to date on all the latest gaming news during E3 right here on Nerdist, but in the meantime, tell us, what do you think of our predictions? What are your E3 predictions, and which game are you most excited to learn about, and why? Let us know in the comments below, and for the latest and greatest in the world of pop culture, stay tuned to Nerdist.com.